Welcome to TNT Sports Talk. Today is Thursday, July 19th. As always, we are presented by D's Home Cuts. And we are welcomed in studio today by D from D's Home Cuts. Welcome back on, Dom.
Hi, it's great to be back. Always a pleasure being on the show.
No Truman today. He was supposed to be here, but ditching on us. Got to go hang out with the girlfriend, I guess. But
Wow.
we'll just keep moving, I guess, because Truman doesn't really care, I guess. But I kind of understand why he doesn't want to be here. We'll get back into that in baseball. Brewers have had kind of a bad week, but kind of a really bad week. Just top from bottom. The whole organization has just been a mess. But we'll get into that. First, though, we're going to start with basketball and the Kawhi Leonard trade. This broke Wednesday morning. Kawhi Leonard was sent to the Spurs, to the Raptors for DeRozan. Danny Green was also involved in that trade.
And a first-round pick.
And a first-round pick, protected first-round pick. I like this trade for both teams. I know a lot of people were hating on it. Kawhi, I guess didn't want to play there. He's warming up to it now, supposedly. But I like this trade for both teams. I think, Kawhi needed to get out of San Antonio. You hate to see DeRozan, get traded like that. But I think this is a good trade for both of them. I think DeRozan will benefit from Popovich. And, obviously, if Kawhi is what he used to be, the Raptors got, I think, a steal. And hopefully he'll resign with the Raptors.
I think that the Spurs actually got a steal on this trade.
Dude.
Because Kawhi didn't want to be there. Everyone realized that Kawhi wasn't going to stay there after this year. So I feel like the Lakers definitely backed out on trades. The Celtics backed out on trades. They all stopped offering. And then the Raptors just come in and offer their franchise player.
Yeah.
And so now the Spurs have a franchise player in DeMar DeRozan, and they got a first-round pick, which probably won't be much, but still a first-round pick, which you've seen in later-round picks now have been turning into good players.
Yeah, I think for the Raptors, though, they needed to kind of move on from, DeRozan and Lowry. It wasn't cutting it in the playoffs. They couldn't beat LeBron. They got rid of Dwayne Casey, but bringing in a guy like Kawhi, like I said, if he can be what he used to be, I think this was a great trade for both franchises. DeRozan, I think, like I said, will thrive from Popovich. But we'll see what happens there. Obviously, and Danny Green, too. I mean, they got a starting shooting guard. And he's a pretty good, solid piece. So we'll see what happens there. But I think, both teams benefited from this trade.
Yeah, but I think, Kawhi Leonard even said he has no no desire to play for the Raptors. So basically, they got a 1-year rental.
That's scary. If I'm Raptors fans, that's the scariest thing. I hope he does resign, but I could see him going to LA next year. I think he wants to play with LeBron because he doesn't like to be the star of the team, even though he has the talent. He likes to be the guy who kind of sits in the back and just does his thing. But we'll see what happens. I guess he is warming up to the idea of playing with the Raptors, and he does need to play well this year because if he doesn't play well, he's not going to get as much as he should based on his talent. But I was just kind of wondering, how does this impact, the East and the playoff picture going into next year?
I think that the Raptors, it's going to be Raptors, Celtics, I think, battling it out. I think the 76ers are still a year away from being a finals team. Obviously, they're going to be probably a top 4 seed still. But I still think they need to get everyone together and get the chemistry going. I think that the Raptors should have kept what they had.
Yeah.
Because they had DeRozan, who was very loyal to them.
And no LeBron in the East.
Yeah,
now.
and LeBron was gone, so he was what was stopping them every year.
Yeah.
And I think the Celtics are easily going to be the East's title defender.
Yeah.
They gotta
especially with Kawhi and Hayward coming back. But I could see the Raptors. They were the 1 seed. I could see them 1 to 3. I think the top 3 is going to be 76ers, Celtics, and Raptors. But, a team like the Wizards could sneak up there.
If Wall finds his game again.
If Wall and Beal and pan out. And
they got Dwight Howard. They got
they got Dwight Howard.
But also, I was just thinking, if you look at it from the Raptors' point of view on this year, you had the coach of the year, fired him.
Yeah.
Because he didn't get along with DeMar DeRozan. So he's already gone. DeMar DeRozan's happy. And then you trade DeMar DeRozan. So basically, you gave up your franchise player and your coach of the year, head coach.
Another thing too, the Spurs are getting DeRozan, who now has a huge chip on his shoulder.
Oh,
yeah,
pissed off.
He's so pissed off. He posted, a couple things on his Instagram.
Yeah, he said no loyalty in this league. Greg Popovich is a great coach. He's definitely gonna use him good. And him
Yeah.
alongside like the young point guard, DeJounte Murray,
Yeah.
and then Aldridge, Rudy Gay.
The Spurs they got better from last year, obviously because Leonard didn't play at all. But we'll see what happens. They could be a force that could contend in the West. I don't think they'll take down the Warriors or even the Rockets, but they could, they could get 4 to 5, maybe even a third seed if they really, turn it up a little bit. But we'll see what happens there. But that's it for basketball. We're going to move now to football. We're going to keep doing our 32 teams and 32 shows, but we're going to do 2 teams today. Again, we did 2 teams last time. We're going to do the Vikings. We're going to finish out the NFC North. 13-3 last year. A little bit of a overachieving year. Nobody saw Case Keenum doing what he did last year. But they added, Kirk Cousins. They added Sheldon Richardson. Those are 2 top talents, especially Sheldon Richardson when he's healthy. And then if Kirk Cousins can kind of get a little bit more consistency, he's not playing under the franchise tag anymore, maybe that could be a big help for him. But they did lose Jerick McKinnon, their backup running back. He was a guy, they've had a lot of trouble with consistency there for a long time, but he was a guy who always would step up, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does in San Francisco now that he's the starter. But they had a pretty good draft. They took Brian O'Neill. They took Mike Hughes with the first rounder. They took Jalen Holmes out of Ohio State. So it's right there, Mike Hughes, Jalen Holmes, 2 top defensive players who are just going to add to this defense, which that's their key right now is their defense. Even though they had probably one of the best 1-2 combos at wide receiver with Thielen and Diggs, and then you add Rudolph. But I think a huge key to this year is going to be, what does Kirk Cousins do? And is Dalvin Cook going to stay healthy? And if he is he going to be what he was those couple games that we saw him last year?
I very much agree. I think their defense is going to be just as good as it was, if not better, with Sheldon Richardson the addition. They already they already have one of the best secondaries in the league. Now they just strengthen their front 7. And then on offense, I think with as good as Case Keenum was last year, I think he was just as good as Kirk Cousins was or has been in his career. But I think Kirk Cousins could be just a little bit better with more smart, I think, and more kind of experience.
Especially, he's not going to be playing under the franchise tag, which I think has kind of hindered his career a little bit. Now that he is the guy, he came in with RG3. Nobody really expected him to do much. Now that he's the guy, they invested all this money into him. Hopefully he'll step up. But they got to replace Pat Shurmur, too. They lost him. He's now the head coach. And that's going to be huge. But we'll see what happens. I think they kind of take a little bit of a step back. I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to, just seamlessly go into that offense and just take over. I think they play a little bit above what they are last year, especially now Aaron Rodgers coming back. They're going to have to play him this year 2 times. So I think, 12-4, they were 13-3 last year. 12-4 would be a reasonable record. But this team, the ceiling's high for them. But we'll see what happens there.
I think Diggs and Thielen are probably definitely the best receivers he's had in his career. Because I don't think the Redskins ever gave him a great receiver other than Deshaun Jackson. I can't. Other than Jordan Reed.
Yeah, Terrell Pryor. They signed Terrell Pryor, and he was trash.
Yeah. Other than D-Jax, I don't think he ever had anyone
I think Jordan Reed was hurt, a lot of the time.
He's not gonna be able to breathe when he's done playing football.
Yeah, and they had a good tight end. Kyle Rudolph's pretty good too.
Yeah.
So I think 12-4 is a pretty good record for them. Regressing just a little bit, but Dalvin Cook's gonna be interesting to watch because he burst onto the scene. Then he had the ACL tear. We'll see if he can do, what he did in those, few games. So then we're going to move now to the Eagles, NFC East, Super Bowl champs. This team is just one of the most talented rosters in the NFL, and they added to that this year. They added Mike Wallace, Richard Rodgers, Michael Bennett, who's a top defensive lineman when healthy and when he's got the off the field stuff under control. And then they added Haloti Ngata, who was one of the best.
Yeah.
He still has a little bit left. And the draft was pretty good too. They added Dallas Goedert. Many people said he was the top tight end on the board. They added Josh Sweat from Florida State. He was a guy who I predicted to be my most underrated pass rusher because he dealt with injuries. So I think that's going to be a good addition for them. Again, it's like the Vikings. They just added more talent to their defense, which was insanely good last year.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see what happens. They lost Blunt. They lost Trey Burton, two key guys. But this team, there's a lot of talent. I don't think it's going to matter that much.
Yeah, I agree. I think they definitely they took one of the best front sevens in the NFL and made it better by adding Michael Bennett and Haloti Nagata, or however you say it. And then on offense, they're gonna have Wentz coming back, who's obviously Foles was good, won the Super Bowl, but Wentz is gonna be an MVP candidate.
The only thing that would scare me about the Eagles is the whole Foles Wentz, because if Wentz comes back and he struggles a little bit, coming back in,
fans are gonna
we know the Philly fans, they're gonna start to, call for Foles, and I think that could screw them up a lot.
But Foles did say this is Carson's team.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of I don't know how you can not want to start in the NFL.
I know that's weird to me. He wouldn't want to go to another team, maybe ask for a trade, because I know a lot of teams would love
Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah, Super Bowl MVP.
Beat Tom Brady.
He had an amazing game. But I think all that also is credit to Doug Peterson. He's a great coach.
Yeah, he's an amazing coach.
And this team went from kind of a mediocre team from the Chip Kelly era to now one of the best rosters, if not the best roster in the NFL.
And they have Jordan Hicks coming back, who's like a Ryan Shazier type linebacker. Cover two guy.
They got a lot of interesting things. I think they got better over this offseason, which is crazy when a team that went 13-3 won the Super Bowl. It's kind of hard to get much better than that, but they did. And a full year from Carson Wentz, I could see them going 14-2, doing a lot better than last year.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be Super Bowl contenders. We'll see what happens once the playoffs start, but they're going to be right there, I think, at the top of the NFC. So that's it for the 32 teams and 32 shows. A couple more football stories we want to touch on. Darrelle Revis, he's going to hang it up. He's retiring. First ballot Hall of Famer.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah, first ballot, easily. 7 Pro Bowls. I don't have the stats in front of me, but, those years with the Jets, he was just a lockdown.
He was amazing, yeah.
He was the best corner in the NFL, easily. And, he had a couple shaky years towards the end, but, that's just wear and tear on his body. But he's, a great career. Sad to see him go, but, like you said, he's going to be a first ballot. He's going to be wearing that gold jacket in 4 years.
Yeah, one of the best corners to ever play the game. Probably.
Yeah. He started the whole Revis Island thing. I think, the whole, corner, you see Jalen Ramsey now. A lot of guys like to talk trash. I think Darrelle Revis kind of started that.
Yeah.
With the whole Revis Island thing, which, he changed the game, I think, for corners.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of another Hall of Famer, Terrell Owens, we talked about him a couple shows ago, how he's not going to be attending the Hall of Fame ceremony. He's not going to be speaking, which is very rare for a guy who's, able to go up there and give a speech. To just flat out deny it is crazy. But I guess I don't know the exact stuff behind it, but I guess he is negotiating something in the NFL to where his contract, he's allowed to negotiate with Canadian football teams. If everybody kind of knows, Terrell Owens wants to play again. He really wants to be in the NFL. So this is probably the second, best thing to the NFL, the Canadian Football League. We see Johnny Manziel doing it right now. It'd be kind of cool to see him play in Canada. I know a lot of people don't like it because he's I don't know how old he is. It's probably 45.
Yeah, he's got to be up.
45, so. He still has the speed. He's still working out like a fiend, but I don't think he'll be. Once you get that first hit on a 45-year-old body.
Oh yeah.
It's just not going to be good for him.
Mm.
But it'd be cool to see him play in the Canadian Football League. I know a lot of guys try to make comebacks and stuff, and they want to get back in the NFL, and guys won't go play in Canada. But I think that's a great option, especially if you want to get back to the NFL. If you're trying to make a comeback for whatever reason. So we'll see what happens. I don't think he'll ever play a snap in the NFL again. He's just too
Probably
old.
Not, no.
No.
Yeah, no, I don't think he'll ever get back another team.
No, yeah. I mean,
Dez can't even get signed.
Yeah, and Dez is still, an NFL player, an NFL age, and he can't even get signed. We'll see what happens, though. best of luck to him. But we're going to move now to baseball. Before that, I wanted to remind you that our show is brought to you by A's Lawn Service. Since 2014, A's has been providing professional landscaping services to many homes around Northeast Ohio. By using professional equipment, A's constantly strives to provide families with professional landscaping at a low and fair price. Are you tired of being dragged around by bigger landscaping companies?
Oh, definitely.
Turn to A's and trust me, your lawn and your home will never look better. Trust A's for all your landscaping needs and you will not be disappointed. The phone number is 330-241-2392. Again, 330-241-2392. And the email is lawnservice.a's@gmail.com. A's Lawn Service LLC. You grow it, we cut it. So we had the All-Star game. We talked about in the last show, Manny Machado was going to be traded to the Dodgers, and it came true. Not much surprise. It was a little rough getting the deal done. I guess the Orioles, are still looking at, the prospects they were getting. But it did get done late last night. Again, we talked about it on the last show. Just another bat going to, Los Angeles. He's one of the best players in the game today, has been for the last couple of years. And he's going to fill that hole at shortstop that was left when Seager got hurt. And this is, great move for the Dodgers and the Orioles because they got 5 prospects out of this, which is a huge haul for a guy like Manny Machado.
I definitely agree. The 5 prospects definitely helps cover the bandage. But also, I'd be worried if I was the Dodgers because I believe he's only on a 1-year deal, right?
Yeah, he's a rental.
And they're saying the Yankees are going to offer him everything.
Oh yeah, I can see.
So I'd definitely be worried if I was the Dodgers. But other than that, I think it's a great trade for them.
Yeah, he's going to be a part of that huge free agent class. Kershaw, Machado, Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
So he's going to get a boatload of money somewhere. But it's a good deal for the Dodgers right now. I don't think he'll stay there long term because they have Seager, and he doesn't want to play third base. But it's going to help them in the playoffs, obviously. It's going to help them, make a run at this division. So good move for them. And, the Orioles, they're going to be rebuilding now. They got a lot of bad contracts on their team. They got to start trading some of this talent away and get some talent back, for a couple years down the line. Another trade that happened today with our Cleveland Indians, they traded for Brad Hand, the reliever from the Padres, all-star reliever, and they traded for Adam Kimber. I didn't know much about him, but I guess he's a rookie. He has about a 3.17 ERA right now, but everybody knows Brad Hand. He's one of the best relievers in baseball, 2-time All-Star, kind of a guy you don't know a lot about because he plays for the Padres, but they got 2 really good relievers. Especially Kimber, who's a rookie. He's got a high ceiling. They're all under control, both Hand and Kimber, for the next couple years, 3 years. So that's huge for them, especially for the Indians who really need that bullpen help. And all they had to give up was Francisco Mejia, who I understand, Indians fans weren't happy to see that name go. But trust me, this is a good deal. I don't think Mejia is going to be as good as people think, and you can quote me on that. If he comes an all-star, obviously I'll say I was wrong. But it's interesting because I read an article where they said, Mejia should have been called up, before the all-star break because they had some injuries in the outfield, but he wasn't. And people were speculating that's probably because there's some sort of hole in his game, and the Indians didn't want to bring him up to the big leagues and have that hole, seen by every other major league club, and they would completely go away from doing any sort of trades with him. But they were able to get him to the Padres, and we got a huge haul in return. This is just another effect of that Jonathan Lucroy trade that fell a couple years ago for I think it was 2016 when we got Andrew Miller. Mejia was able to stay, and now he helps us out in this part. Then we're gonna move to the other big story coming out of the All-Star game. Josh Hader, the reliever for the Brewers. I think this is kind of why Truman's not here today. He's claiming, he had other stuff to do, but me and Dom know him. He doesn't like to, face up to this sort of criticism. So let me just break down the week that the Brewers have had. So they go into the All-Star game losing 5 straight games to the Pirates, losing doubleheader. They lost on a walk-off the last game. And then we go to Monday night. That was Sunday night. Monday night, Jesus Aguilar, number 1 seed in the Home Run Derby, gets upsetted by the 8th seed in the first round. And then Tuesday night, Josh Hader goes into the game. He gives up a 3-run home run. And then after the game, we find out he's been tweeting some pretty bad things, stuff we can never say. I won't say on the podcast. I know Dom won't say it either. It was pretty bad. I'm sure everybody kind of knows what happened. I'm sure everybody's read these tweets. I know he's not going to be suspended. I guess he has to go sensitivity training through the MLB. But obviously he was 17. You can't really blame a guy, well, I guess you can for what he did when he was 17. But it's kind of scary if I'm the Brewers because you got free agents now are going to look at this and, maybe that turns them away from the Brewers. If they're neck and neck with the Brewers and another team, this could be something where they go to the other team just because they don't want to deal with all this drama. And, obviously we don't know who Hatter is as a person. We've never met him. There haven't really been any problems with him, but, players aren't going to like to play with a guy who's tweeted this type of stuff. Yeah. And this is going to turn players away from coming to the Brewers. I know Truman tries to blow it off like it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal, and it's going to hurt them. If not now, it's going to hurt them down the line when they're trying to, make a push for the World Series. And now, Milwaukee, Truman, they got the two worst, tweeters in the city of Milwaukee. They got Josh Hader and Dante DiVincenzo, who, that happened after the national championship game. Again, more bad tweets. I mean, Truman just, like I said, he's not here today. He can't speak for any of this. Maybe he'll speak Tuesday. But I guess he's just trying to let this blow over. But I don't know, because this was pretty bad, and I just think it's hilarious.
If you're like a famous young athlete, you just need to delete your Twitter.
Yeah.
Just make a new one.
That's what Lorenzo Cain said. He's like, I don't even have social media because of this. Yeah, you just need to get rid of all of it.
Just save yourself.
Especially like sports agents need to go and before they sign a client, they need to just go through their Twitter and just look at every single tweet.
Clean,
yeah. You saw like Josh Allen, that went
Josh
through.
Allen, Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, Trubisky. It's everywhere. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, he was 17. It's a mistake. He apologized, but this is going to hurt him. I know Truman would say differently, but we'll see what happens going into the second half. Quick touch on the All-Star game. It was a pretty good game. Went to the bottom of the 10th. AL won. Doesn't really matter anymore, though, because there's no more home World Series advantage, which that kind of sucks because I like that because that was the last All-Star game where it kind of meant for something if you were to win. You got World Series. But it was a good game. A lot of good stars. I like how they mic'd up the players in it. They were talking to them on the field. They need to do more of that, like we said before. But it was a good game, and we'll see what happens in the second half. So now we're going to move to question and answer. Got two questions here, two basketball questions. But before that, I wanted to remind you our show is also brought to you by D's Home Cuts. D's is the best place around Northeast Ohio for a great haircut at a low price. For only $7, D's Home Cuts will provide you with a modern haircut and styling. Truman and I have been getting our haircut at D's for the last couple months. And let me tell you, Dom, we have never looked or felt better. Every time you go into the shop, you're going to get a professional cut. And they get better every single time because Dom is always upgrading his equipment so he can give you the best haircut possible. You can find D's Home Cuts on Twitter or Instagram. You can set up appointments through his Instagram bio. It's really easy, really quick. Go ahead and do that, and you will not be disappointed. D's Home Cuts, professional haircuts at a low price. So we got a couple questions submitted by some viewers. Especially after this Kawhi trade went down, we got a couple questions. And now, they traded away. They got rid of Parker. He signed with the Hornets. Ginobili on his last leg. The Spurs dynasty is kind of cracking. They got rid of Kawhi, who was kind of the last piece there. So I guess you can start, Dom. Where do you see the Spurs in about 4 to 5 years?
Well, honestly, it's the Spurs. As long as they have Greg Popovich, I think they're going to be contenders. They got DeMar DeRozan, who's I think he's 28, so he's right into his prime right now. They have LaMarcus Aldridge, who's always he's a great power forward. Paul Gasol is 80, he's going to be done soon. But then they have young guys like DeJounte Murray, who looks really good. Patty Mills is younger. And then Greg Popovich always just finds random foreign guys and turns them into all-stars.
That's what makes the Spurs so deadly.
Yeah.
They'll just find random guys who, not a lot of hype, and they'll make them into stars. Kind of like the Patriots.
And they drafted that guy with the funny hair this year who already looks like a beast.
Yeah, who was that?
In some league. I think is it Lonnie Walker?
Yeah,
Lonnie
Walker from Miami. And I really liked him. He's really explosive, really good. And like you said, DeRozan. I think he's a borderline superstar. I think Popovich is the coach to kind of push him to that superstar level. So in 4 years, I don't know what will happen. We'll see what happens. But if they have Popovich, I don't think they'll be out of the playoffs. I think they'll still be right there. But with the Warriors and the Rockets, they won't be winning a championship anytime soon. But they'll be a borderline playoff team for the next 4 years, I think, easily.
Mm.
Next question is, this is interesting because with LeBron going to Los Angeles, a lot of the focus is on him. It's kind of taken the focus away from Lonzo Ball, who had a decent rookie year, not as good as a second overall pick should be. But they did sign Rondo over the offseason, which is kind of, I think, in my opinion, the best Lonzo could get is a Rondo type of player. He's not a shooter, he's not a scorer, he's a passer, he's a floor general. So they kind of have the same player there. So who should Luke Walton start, Lonzo or Rondo at the point guard?
I disagree. I think Lonzo is definitely a scorer. He can score in
His
contact.
shot is so ugly.
But he puts the ball in the basket. I think his ceiling is definitely higher than Rondo, but I think they definitely should start Lonzo because I think Rondo with his experience could lead a bench unit better than Lonzo could.
I think Lonzo should start. I think Rondo should get the start early in the year. Kind of let Lonzo see, what, he's a true point guard. What a true point guard should look like, and then you transition into Lonzo, because he kind of got thrown out there last year, and he did okay, but he underperformed from what everybody thought he could be when he came out of UCLA. But I really like Rondo. Rondo's been one of my favorite players over his career. And, he still has a lot left in the tank. You saw that last year. And passing to LeBron's going to be, a lot of fun for him. So I think Rondo should start the first couple of games, first 20, 25, and then you transition into Lonzo.
Yeah, I just think it should be Lonzo the whole year because he's a young guy. Rondo is a leader. He can lead the bench unit.
And Lonzo, he had surgery, didn't he?
I think he did. So also, if it is that he's hurt, definitely Rondo. But also in clutch moments, they could definitely put Rondo in over Lonzo.
Yeah,
just for the leadership.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah, that's a good signing though. I think it was a really good signing because Rondo's going to teach these guys how to play basketball because he's done at such a high level over the last couple of years.
And he always seems to turn it on in the playoffs, which is definitely what LeBron needs aside of him.
Yeah,
his players who can score by themselves.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be contention either way he goes. People are going to be pissed if he starts Lonzo. People are going to be pissed if he starts, Rondo. But we'll see what happens. He's got a pretty big year ahead of him, Luke Walton.
Yeah.
Because playing with LeBron is not easy. Coaching LeBron is even harder.
Especially when you're the same age as him.
Yeah. He was in the same draft class,
same
wasn't
draft
he?
class, yeah.
Yeah.
They're 20-something picks apart.
He's got a pretty short leash. Especially, once LeBron starts to get tired of him, he's going to fire him and bring in a guy he likes, like, Larry Drew or something like that. But that's it for question and answer. Dom, we have Dom in the studio today, big Steelers fan.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to give your takes, on Le'Veon Bell. Obviously, you know what happened.
Yeah.
Not signing the deal. He said he might sit out half the season even.
I think he's... I would call him an idiot, but I understand, he wants to get the money he feels he deserves.
Mm.
But the Steelers have never been the team to overpay, offer guys huge contracts, especially Le'Veon Bell, who's a running back. The running back market right now is very low. I'm pretty sure Devonta Freeman's the highest paid running back. He makes, $8 or $9 million a year.
Yeah, something like that.
And Le'Veon Bell wanted $17 million a year, which is about...
They offered him 14.
Yeah, they offered him $14.5 million, but he said he declined it. He said no. And it was $30 million guaranteed the first 2 years too. So he's just he just wants way too much money for what the Steelers have to offer. And now with our new offense coordinator Ryan Fishker, he's gonna be more of just basically Big Ben's offense coordinator now.
Yeah.
And Big Ben loves to throw the ball, so I think I think that without Bell, we could still be a good offense because we have James Conner, who's not an every down back like Bell, but I think he can be like somewhat of a workhorse for us. And this guy we just drafted, Jalen Samuels, is a very good receiving back.
He's from South Carolina?
Yeah, I think from South Carolina. He's looked super good like in training camp, and he's been a really good hands. So I think with Connor and him together, it could be good enough to replace Bell and save us $17 million.
Yeah, I said this, last show. I see where both sides are coming from here. Bell, he's 28. He's still in his prime, but the next couple of years he's going to slowly start to, fall back a little bit. He won't be an every down back.
30's been like the age now.
Yeah, you see, running backs like Adrian Peterson is a great example. He could be so good one year and the next year is just a sharp decline, just because of age and just the wear and tear on their bodies.
Injuries. Like Le'Veon's had a lot of injuries.
Yeah, so I see why he wants to get a long-term deal and he wants to get paid. And he deserves to get paid, and I think if he goes on the free agent market, somebody will pay him that.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why he would sit out 8 games just because he's not getting paid $17 million when he's getting paid $14.5 this year under the franchise tag. So if he does sit out and he does leave and they don't win it this year, how pissed would you be if the Steelers, never won with, I think, one of, if not the best, 3-headed, combo, offensive combos in league history even?
It'd be pretty upsetting, but also I think that's also to blame on the Steelers for just not giving them a good defense, or at least they haven't even had a mediocre defense. They've had terrible defenses the last 3 years when they were in their primes, pretty much. And now we're finally getting our defense together, and now Bell doesn't even want to barely even be here anymore. Our defense finally gonna be pretty good this year, I think.
Yeah, you added a lot over the offseason. But yeah, if you really don't win with Bell, Antonio Brown, Big Ben, all top 10 guys at their position groups, I would even Bell and Brown are top 5 easily. Brown
top 3.
I think easily. Brown's the best receiver in the NFL in my opinion. It'd be kind of like how the Thunder didn't win with Harden, Westbrook, and Durant.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It'd be pretty upsetting to see, but I don't know. I still have faith that we can try to get Bell to give us a good year or something.
Yeah.
Or if anything, just
I don't think he'll sit out 8 games.
I think he's just gonna knock. He hasn't been to training camp in his whole career. I don't think.
He probably just doesn't like going to training camp, so you just I
don't think he's been there. It's been 4 years since I think he's been to training camp.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens. I don't think he'll sit out 8 games like he said he would. But that's it for our show today. We want to thank you to our sponsors, D's Home Cuts and A's Lawn Service. We ask that you go into iTunes, give us 5 stars, rate, review us, and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter at TNT Sports Talk 12. DM us questions. DM us if you want to be a guest or any other comments you have on the show. You can follow us on Instagram too, although Truman's slacking on that. He hasn't posted in a while. No. But you can listen to us tomorrow on 12 ounce from 12 to 1. You listen to us on our YouTube page for our Android users. Make it a little bit easier for you. We want to thank you Dom for coming in today.
Thanks for having me again. I always love being on the show. It's always a highlight of the week being on here.
Yeah, and Truman obviously doesn't even show up. Doesn't want to face the music. So I think you can clearly see, what kind of sports analyst Truman is if he doesn't even want to show up.
Yeah.
But we'll get him Tuesday. So tune in for that. We'll have a guest on, not sure who it's going to be yet, but other than that, have a great day and tune in on Tuesday.